Gavin, Rams at Saints, Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Where are you leaning here? This should be a hell of a game. You think the Saints will take care of business at home?
I would have been leaning Saints heavily before this week, assuming that these teams had won. But I think a pretty big blow to the Saints defense in particular is the loss of Sheldon Rankins, their first-round pick from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Their best interior lineman injured and will be out for this game and the Super Bowl if they make it, and probably a chunk of next season as well. And you lose your best interior lineman going up against a team that just put up 250 yards rushing against Dallas defense that's supposed to also be good. I know they've been worse on the road this year, but still should have been, not allowing two guys to rush for over 100 yards. So I think that changes things. The Rams, they need Todd Gurley to get going, or at least they need a running back to get going, I think, for Jared Goff to really be effective. And I think they're going to have a really good chance of that with Rankins being out. So that makes me lean a little bit more towards the Rams. I'm not sure if you're asking me to pick right now.
Yeah, we'll do. There's predictions right now, but if you want to wait a little bit, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, give me a half more second.
To me, I mean, with how impressive the Rams' offensive line looked against Dallas, if they can establish Gurley and or C.J. Anderson, the Rams can really, that's a huge factor, and especially like your point with Sheldon Rankins out, they could play that whole keep Drew Brees off the field. What do you say, Gaetan? Rams at Saints. Who are you leaning in this one?
Oh man, this is hard.
I know.
I think in addition to the injury of Sheldon Rankin, I think one of the Saints' offensive line, his last name is Pete.
Yeah, Andrews Pete.
There's
Adam, what do you think? Rams at Saints, where are you leaning on this?
to go to the Super Bowl, just, because I think this is Drew Brees probably, he's at the end of his career, and I think another shot at winning would be great.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if the Rams won, so.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a fight. Adam, where are you leaning on this one?
I'm leaning toward the Saints.
Uh-huh.
Was in L.A., I might lean toward L.A. I'm just going home field on this one. I think that extra, home dome advantage is gonna serve the Saints well. There's a lot of ifs, ands, buts. If they can get Todd Gurley going and stuff, they didn't against Dallas. I would put the Saints defense kind of in line with Dallas, talent-wise anyway. Although Rankins is kind of a big loss, but I think they'll probably have still some of the same struggles getting that run game going, and it's going to have to rely on Jared Goff to pass the way into a win. So I'm going with the Saints, but in a very close game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm leaning Saints. I'm going Saints in this one at home. I think the advantage lies in Drew Brees is greater than Jared Goff. I trust him more in this kind of a big game. Gavin, we're talking about two of the best play callers, two of the hottest coaches in the game, and Sean McVay versus Sean Payton. Who would you trust more in this type of game? Or who do you trust more as not teams but coaches?
I think I would trust Peyton more, just because of the experience. He's been in this situation before. And he and Drew Brees are 6-0 in home games in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Since they've started, or 8-0, 6-0, something
6-0.
like that. They're
6-0.
undefeated at home in the playoffs.
Yep.
We talked a little bit about the fake punt they had in their own territory and how that was a great move by Peyton. And then we turned around and said how kicking a field goal there late in the fourth was a bad idea. And I think those kind of situations, I think that are going to make or break this game. Sean Payton trying to take a gamble, and whoever's side that these gambles favor, I think is going to be who ends up winning this game.
Yeah, it's going to be great just watching it from a coaching matchup. Gaetan, are you excited to watch the McVay versus Sean Payton?
I am. One thing I have noticed the last few weeks is I don't think Sean McVay trusts his running back.
Yeah.
I think he relies too much on Goff, and nothing against Goff. I think he's still too young. He's still learning. Maybe they're establishing their own style of play, but I think for the Rams to win, they have to run the ball efficiently. Todd Gurley has been injured. He's not fit. You can tell. C.J. Anderson was probably one of the biggest reasons why they beat Dallas, because they could consistently, run for 8-9 yards each attempt. So we'll see. But I have to go with Sean Payton because more often than not, he always makes the right call. But I don't. McVay isn't far behind in terms of play calling. I just think situational football experience wins all the time. So.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Adam, C.J. Anderson is a bit of not everyone knows him as far as a running back. He's not a star or anything, but he came up with big runs for the Broncos when he was there with Peyton Manning. And he had comes through biggest for the Rams last week in the playoffs. You expect him to play a big role in this one?
I think it'll probably have to be either if it's not Gurley because he might be kind of struggling a little bit. I think he'll end up being probably a bigger role than Gurley, just because of seems to be as healthy as normal.
Yeah.
Or as he should be. Of course, a lot of players in the NFL are not healthy this time. It's all about who you still have at this point in the season, and that's usually the teams that are the healthiest are oftentimes the teams that are still standing.
Yep, absolutely. So I think we're all three leaning Saints. What are you thinking, Gavin? You ready to make a pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Saints.
All right.
I think there's a really good chance that the Rams can win this game, but in the end, I guess I'm gonna go with Adam, and his home field decision makes things a little bit easier. I think that's a lot more important in the playoffs, especially than we might give credit to.
Yes, I agree. I'm gonna go advantage home field, advantage head coach barely, and advantage quarterback, and that should be enough. Let's go to Patriots at Chiefs. In Arrowhead, the Sunday night game kicks off at 7-ish Eastern. And it's supposed to be, last I heard, single digits. Really cold. Gaetan, do you think the weather affects the outcome of Patriots at Chiefs?
Yes, and I think I wanted to say 70% weather. Several things. Here's how the Patriots can win. The Patriots will win if they control the running game.
Yep.
They're able to run the ball efficiently, a.k.a. taking the crowd out of the game. Because it's going to be so cold, I don't know that those guys are going to be willing to scream at the top of their lungs at 10-degree weather. So the only way I think the Chiefs win is if they get ahead and they pressure Brady. Because Brady doesn't like being pressured. And when it's cold, it's harder to throw the ball. So I think we've seen this year how Brady has struggled. And I think their last loss, I forget who they lost to, but I think was it the Pittsburgh?
Yeah, yep. Steelers.
They lost to Pittsburgh, and the manner in which they lost that game was because Brady was being pressured a lot, and he was making a lot of ill-advised throws. So if D Ford and those guys are able to pressure Tom Brady before he, dinks and dunks it to James White.
Yep. Yeah.
I think they have a chance, but I'm going with the Chiefs.
Oh, wow. Chiefs at home?
I'm going with the Chiefs at home all the way. I'll be rooting all the way, screaming at the top of my lungs. And I We can't have another Tom Brady Super Bowl. But
Hey, I've been saying this for like the past 8 years, and I don't get my way.
yeah.
I really think this game comes down to the Patriots being able to establish the run. Sony Michel, you got to feed him, and if you can have success with him, then that opens up the play action. And the Patriot offensive line has to bring it. No Indianapolis Colts stuff. You've got to bring it. They allowed 0 sacks against the Chargers in the divisional round. You need as close as possible to that, because if you allow Justin Houston or Dee Ford or Chris Jones to get you, not only can they sack you, but they can force a fumble, and that can be a huge momentum killer, huge swing in the game. So I look for Sony Michel, establishing him to be the key in this game. Also keeping the ball out of Mahomes' hands, because I expect him to be winging it. So I'm going Patriots on the road. I trust Brady and Belichick to outsmart and be ready for the Chiefs. Adam, where do you see this game going?
I'm going to pick this game as I do on all the games. I'm 7-1 in my picks so far this year. And
all right.
The reason is because I simply, outside of one game, choose who I think is the better team.
Okay.
I don't care about matchups necessarily. I kind of just go with, and if there's a toss-up between, if I'm not sure who the better team is, I usually pick the home team. The only time that was different is I thought maybe the Chargers were slightly better than the Patriots last week, but I picked the Patriots because they're unstoppable at home in the playoffs.
Yeah.
However, they are not at home this time. I think the Chiefs are a better team, so I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Oh, wow. 2 Chiefs picks. Gavin, are you going to make it 3?
I am not.
All right, good.
I learned my lesson last week. Don't bet against
God.
Tom Brady.
Don't have this fear factor thing going
don't
on.
bet against
I
Bill
get it.
Belichick.
I get it. But some things gotta end, man.
Hey,
Yeah.
it'll end when Brady retires.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I think that, as you alluded to earlier, the weather is going to play a major factor in this game.
Yep.
And I think that the running game for New England, and I'm going to include their short passing game, which is what their running game has been up until
James White and those
the
guys.
majority of this year. Yeah, with short passes to Deion Lewis, and when he was still there, James White. And making the defenses play up closer and respecting the shorter game. I think they have a better short game than the Chiefs do, and this is an unknown, so this is just some speculation. But Patrick Mahomes, he's a Texas boy. Now he's going to be playing in some single-degree weather. That makes me wonder how he's going to fare. How his game's going to translate. Tom Brady's used to playing in the cold. He's used to these big pressure situations in the cold. So I'm going to lean Tom Brady and the Darth Belichick to get the win again.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going Patriots on the road. The one thing that scares me is Tyreek Hill. The Patriots have not been able to defend Tyreek Hill at all. He has torched them. So that's going to be a big key. Travis Kelce is like a young Gronk, so he's going to be a big key. Patriots have to slow him down. I don't think the Patriots slow down the Chiefs. I think this is a shootout. I'm picking, we saw 43-40. Yeah, I don't think the weather, it's going to be cold, but I'm just telling you, I've picked against Mahomes all year long. And Mahomes is going to come ready to play. And I cannot pick against Brady either. I tweeted last week that I would pick 82-year-old Brady in the playoffs. I said at home, but I don't think it matters. I say Patriots like 37, Chiefs 34 in a shootout in Arrowhead.
This is why I say it's a mental thing. Like a lot of people, because it's like you're refusing to look on. I guess the experience that Brady's had, the close games that he's won, and terrible cold weather is enabling a lot of us to feel afraid. I get it. It's fine. I just hope the Chiefs don't come out and play zone defense, because they will lose. They have to because that's what the Chargers did I didn't mention that earlier.
Yeah.
They rushed 4 of 3 and dropped 7 back because they thought, okay, if we could just give them a little bit of yards and not miss tackles, and maybe we'll be able to stop them, But instead, it was the opposite. Like Garvin said, the Patriots came out just throwing the ball left and right, and they couldn't make tackles, and then they score. So I'm just hoping the Chiefs just, they have to put pressure on Brady. If you put pressure on him, his accuracy goes down.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. That's the key.
Hope.
That's always the key against New England is pressure, and that's the one thing the Chiefs are good at on defense is the pressure. But if they don't get pressure on Brady, this is the matchup of the Chiefs pass rushers, who have been great all year long, against the Patriots offensive line, who's coming off a 0 sacks game and a big running game, and it all comes down to that front 4 of the Chiefs, that pass rush against the Patriots offensive line, in my opinion. And I got Patriots by 3 in a high-scoring game. You guys think I'm crazy?
I think you're crazy for calling it a high-scoring game. I mean, I don't remember a really high-scoring game in single-digit weather.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I need the Chiefs to win. Let's end this Brady.
And think about that storyline, though. Mahomes, in his first year starting, comes in, throws for 5K yards, 50 touchdowns, and goes to the Super Bowl. That would be insane. I'm not ready for that storyline. What about you, Gavin?
No, I'm not ready for it yet. It's going to be a really long and tedious offseason with everyone rapping you-know-what around Mahomes' you-know-what. And I really am not interested in that.
You'd rather we keep it the status quo with rapping or you-know-what's around Tom Brady's you-know-what?
No, because there's probably a 50-50 between the people that don't like Brady but respect him and the Patriots for winning, and the other people that just despise them and everything that they stand for. So you get a nice mix. There's no reason to hate Mahomes at this point unless you're a Chargers fan.
That's true.
A Bears fan because you don't have him on your team.
Hey, we got Mitch Golden Boy Trubisky.
Oh, okay.
Gosh. Here we go. Mitch will lead you to the promised land.
Yeah, he is. He's going to lead us.
I just want to point out really quick, really way out in left field tangent.
Okay.
The Eagles, they won on a former Eagle, current Bear, making a big mistake, and then they lost because of a former Bear, current Eagle, making a mistake. God clearly hates the Bears.
Yep.
You Chicago Bears, I have sympathy for you guys, because you guys deserve more. I felt bad for Alshon Jeffrey. I felt his pain because he should have caught that ball. But this is also kind of out of the blue. I was reading somewhere that Matt Nagy was speaking highly about Kareem Hunt. Do you guys think the Bears are going to go after Kareem Hunt?
I hope not, because I want the Lions to.
I think Nagy is inclined to. Honestly, I don't think I want him. We have Jordan Howard. I'm a Jordan Howard fan. You know why we lost that game to the Eagles? Because we didn't feed Jordan Howard. We ran the ball for like 40 yards. That's why we lost that game.
I think Jordan Howard is a power back.
Yeah.
And honestly, the Bears thrive a lot on dynamic running back. At least with the system Nagy is running.
But I love the power / speed. I love the power of Jordan Howard to complement the agility and pass catching of Tariq Cohen.
Oh, that you guys never use?
Yeah, the one we never used, the one who touched the ball 4 times in the playoff game. And
right.
I love Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is a rare talent.
Which is why Kareem Hunt is the perfect back if he was to be in that offense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Bears would be a lot more. I would be afraid as a Packer fan, even though I don't know what the hell Green Bay is doing.
You like the LaFleur hire?
I don't know too much about him. I think whatever hire they did, Rodgers had to approve it. I don't know if what is more questioning is Jacksonville's offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett. Yeah.
I'm at a loss for words. I wish they hired Bruce Arians, and fire Mike Pettin and hire Todd Bowles as our defensive coordinator.
Yep.
I know Bruce Arians is a really good offensive coach, but he's also kind of stubborn in a way, so I could see how him and Rodgers could clash heads. But he's not as conservative. He's very dynamic, which is good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. He's like, what, 39?
Yeah.
They're all offensively. These coaches are all around Rodgers' age, so there is pros and cons. Everyone wants the new Sean McVay style calling. I prefer old school. Like let's just keep things simple and get things done instead of trying to be overly creative.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see if he can bring what he brings to Green Bay. We'll know a lot more come the regular season, but it's going to be a big year for the Packers. A little something that I want to ask you guys about. I want to get your opinion. Kyler Murray has declared for the draft. The Oklahoma quarterback, the Heisman-winning college quarterback, choosing football over baseball for now. The Cardinals' brand new head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, said in an October interview while at Texas Tech that he would draft Kyler Murray with the number 1 overall pick. Well, Kingsbury joining the Cardinals have the 2019 number 1 overall pick. Adam, are you sold on Josh Rosen, or would you consider Kyler Murray in Arizona?
I think it's too early to tell on Josh Rosen. I don't think I would draft another quarterback at this point. I'm not sold that Kyler Murray is going to be terribly serviceable at the next level. He's
with that size.
I've never been a guy that's too big on size. I mean, I didn't think Mayfield was at a disadvantage because he was a little undersized. Now, apparently Murray is very undersized.
Yeah.
He's listed at 5'10". I've heard multiple people say that they don't think he's taller than 5'8". So
Allen Iverson, point guard.
Yeah, so
quarterback.
I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of Oklahoma football this year, so I can't say that I'm, I've not seen him play a lot.
He's dynamic, but 5'8", 5'9", that seems incredibly small. Gavin, interesting story that Cliff Kingsbury would say that in October and now have the number 1 overall pick. Do you think he's going to think about it at all?
Better not. That'd be so dumb. Whether you're sold on Rosen or not, I think that unless you know that this guy is going to be like the next great quarterback.
Yeah.
When you've got a guy, when you have the number 10 overall pick from last year, I think it'd be really difficult to use your number 1 overall choice
on another quarterback.
Someone that you already have somebody at the position at.
Yeah.
And to add to that, we don't know that he's going to decide to stay with football. He already, went into the MLB draft, got picked highly, and then, bailed out on the athletics. And not saying that he'll bail out on whatever team drafts him, but that's going to be something that is going to be in the back of GMs and coaches' minds when they're thinking about drafting him. It's like, well, what if he leaves?
Yeah.
What if he decides he doesn't want to play? Unless they can somehow get a, in blood and in stone commitment from him, that's going to be a legitimate concern.
Well, one other thing before we go. This is the last topic I'm going to talk about. The Eagles quarterback situation. They got Carson Wentz coming off of, another injury, back injury this time. Got Nick Foles delivering, must-win games in December just to get into the playoffs. Then the shocking upset of the Bears in Soldier Field and almost beating the Saints, who most people consider the best team in football left. Very close to doing that. Gaetan, what's your take? Here's a stat. Carson Wentz, of the last 24 Eagles games, Carson Wentz has missed 13 of them. Are you bringing back Carson Wentz as your franchise quarterback if you're an Eagle? Or do you think Nick Foles is the better option going forward?
You bring back Carson Wentz. His talent is way too up there. his ceiling is still way too high.
Yeah.
The downside is injuries. Injuries have bugged him. Now he can't get injured anymore or for an extended period of time. But I think this is a perfect situation for Nick Foles. It's kind of like he's got his career rejuvenated. But I also fear that someone will spend a hell of a lot of money to get him, and he won't be as valuable. I always think with quarterbacks, it's all about system. If it's not, if you don't, if your offense isn't built for that quarterback to succeed, like it's gonna fail. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. So like you guys mentioned Kyler Murray earlier, I only think the only way he gets picked, Kingsbury picks him is only because I think he can design an offense specifically for him.
Yeah.
So that's the only way it would work. Other than that, it wouldn't work. It's like, you're wasting talent. Secondly, I don't know why the hell he's going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Personally.
The guaranteed money and all that.
Right, I get it. The guaranteed money. He doesn't need any money, man. His dad was a pitcher in the big league, made a ton of money, pitched in big games. So I say go play baseball because the NFL is way too brutal. The fact that he's, listed at 5, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Most linemen, offensive linemen in the league are 6'5", 6'6". So I don't know. I think of Russell Wilson when I think of Kyler Murray, but it worked with Russell Wilson because Pete Carroll built a team around him.
Yeah.
Offensively and defensively. So I don't know. I don't know if you would give if the Cardinals decide to take him, it's all because of hype. They will have to trade what's his name?
Rosen. Chosen one, Rosen. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have to get rid.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do going forward. I think someone's gonna reach and take Kyler Murray higher than they should, and we'll see if he can pan out. I like Drew Haskins in the NFL better than I do Kyler Murray. Adam, what's your take on Foles versus Wentz?
I think you go with Wentz. I think if you try to make Foles a starter anywhere, he's gonna be exactly like he was the beginning of this season.
Yeah.
He comes in and he's, kind of when there's no pressure on him, and there's literally no pressure when you're the backup quarterback coming in and at the end of the season. It's like, okay, well, they expect me to. This comes from him now. I guess he had some expectations this season, but last season when they made the Super Bowl run, there's no pressure on him at all.
Yeah.
He makes his run and plays well, plays loose and free. Once he becomes the starter, he shrivels up and I don't know what happens exactly. Just his throws are not as good. He doesn't make the reads that he normally does when that he has in the playoffs. So I would not. If I were any team, I wouldn't sign him as my starting quarterback.
Do you agree with that, Gavin?
Yeah, they definitely need to stay with Wentz there in Philadelphia. You look at even this last game that he played, and he had 200 yards against a struggling Saints defense. He couldn't get it done. Carson Wentz, he has had injuries these last 2 years, but Matthew Stafford was considered injury prone in his first 2 years because he missed over a full season in his first 2 years. And after those 2 seasons, he's played every single game to the chagrin of some people. But I don't think that we can call Carson Wentz injury prone at this point. He's not Sam Bradford where he plays 3 games, then it's out every single year. I think the talent is definitely superior in favor of Wentz. So you have to stick with him.
Yeah, I think that's the right move. Although it's got to be concerning that Wentz has these injuries the last 2 years, and it makes it interesting when you got a Super Bowl MVP on your roster. But it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward. I expect Foles to get some looks from the Jaguars, the Broncos, some teams like
Go
that.
to the Jaguars, sure.
Yeah.
He should go to the Jaguars. That's perfect. It's just set for him. He's got a good defense, so maybe that will take away some pressure. And I don't think the Jaguars are going to have expectations of getting back to the play. I don't know, maybe. But they had such a bad year this year. that, at least Nick Foles would give him some stability. They have several good running backs, Fournette and T.J. Yeldon, and they do have some unknown guys as receivers. But point is, if Nick Foles plays with no pressure, like Adam said, I think he can make those receivers good. So and they have a good defense. So
yeah,
if somebody gives him big money, he's going to be the next Brock Osweiler.
Oh gosh, that was such a disappointment.
Gavin, you were on record as saying that Blake Bortles was the reason the Jaguars made their run last year.
I'm pretty sure I said the opposite. But no, back to Jaguars real quick. I think another reason why they signed Foles is because they just signed DiFilippo as their new offensive coordinator.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
He was the QB coach in Philly last year when they won.
Right. That's true.
So for me, that makes it all but a lock that Foles goes there. I'll be blown away if he goes somewhere else.
Do you think that he has to steal the starting spot away from Blake Bortles?
I mean,
no, it's his.
It might technically be stealing, but it's just going to be left in an open room with no one around. No one's going to really stop him.
Blake Bortles were so bad that they had to bench his ass and bring in I don't even know the guy's name.
Cody Kessler and those guys, yeah.
The quarterback that the Browns didn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was bad. Like, I don't know. I've never seen a quarterback go from having a good year to that's a huge drop off. Like I'd rather play Josh Rosen over for him.
Yeah, and he showed his signs 2 years ago too. Even when they made their run, Bortles showed his signs of not having it together. So we'll see. That'd be interesting if we see Foles in a Jags uniform next year. But thanks, guys. Great work. Another successful podcast, and looking forward to the conference championship round. Thanks, Gaetan. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Gavin. Good job, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, and we'll be back next week, so stay tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, and have a great week, guys. Go Conference Championships. Peace out.